Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me here as always is...
It's Sesame, Karachi, and Carta.
Karachi and Karta.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I took on a middle name. Yeah, I like it too. I think it rolls up the tongue pretty good.
Yes, it does.
Sesame, Karachi, and Carta.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be my music name from now on. I have like a million different music names, but
they should all be your music names. Whatever you...
That's part of the problem. I have so many names I go off of, and then I upload the same content. That could be one of the reasons why I don't get anywhere, is because I'm creating so much confusion.
Yeah, I mean, Madonna kind of just went by Madonna, and you knew it was her, you know?
Yeah.
So it was easy to just, pinpoint her music. You don't want to be like 5 different people.
That's the thing, though, is that, like, I always get this idea, like, well, this name sounds cooler than that name, and then I just switch, and I'm like, can never... It is what it is, but like,
but if Garth Brooks taught us anything with his Chris Gaines experiment,
yeah, but he was already famous when he did that. Though,
yeah, that's true.
I'm not famous, so it's much more confusing. And then,
but if a famous person can't go by another name and sell records, I don't know.
Exactly.
Because people still buy records.
Well, some people do, yeah. Not a lot, but it's usually people who are collecting, like, vinyl.
Well, vinyl's really popular now, but I mean, pretty much everything's on Pandora and Spotify and stuff now. So,
which the quality sucks on those things so bad, but like like Sesame, I can just go by Sesame. Sesame is my music name.
It's like Madonna or Cher.
A bunch of sesame seeds would be on my first like album cover or something like that. And then the second album will be called Encarta, and it's like a picture of like the Encarta.
Oh, I thought you could do like 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
Yeah, you remember the idea I had with remember when I used to go by Sheldon Bucyrus as like a fake like alter ego music guy, and that name goes back like 20 years. So like I came up with this whole series of albums that I wanted to do as Sheldon Bucyrus, as his character, because I always used to make up weird characters because it's fun, and then I make music based off of those characters.
Yes.
Which is like an added layer of like becoming insane, because I'm like actually like making real life stuff as part of that character. And then I write stories about that character's life that's going on in their lives. That's not even at all what's going on in my life, real life. Anyway, I have 2 characters. You know the other one, I'm not going to mention their name because that one's still secret for the most part. But anyway, although even that barrier is starting to kind of fall down because I'm putting my regular music on there. But anyway, so I had this whole idea of using like phone puns. I have no idea what came up with it. So like I had like an idea called Phone Sex was the one album. I had another one called Textual Activity. and there was a third one that was like Party Line, like an orgy basically. I don't know why I came up with this stuff. There was another one that was a really good pun, but I can't remember, because it was like the phone wife was cheating on the husband, and I don't remember what. It was some word that had to do with phones, but I can't remember what it was. Damn it. Anyway, so I was gonna make a whole series of albums based off of that, and the old albums I was gonna do when we were making a movie based off the Sheldon Bucyrus character. No, where were we? I don't even remember. I think we were gonna do Doormat.
Yes.
But but in the movie I created a character called Sheldon. So I was like real life and movie life were sort of bleeding into it in that one. But yeah, I had a whole series of albums. What was like one was like Green Gods, or like going to New York, like just like leaving, like just up and leaving to New York, and I wrote like a small letter like to New York with love. Something I don't even remember what. You made a bunch of like Photoshop pictures of these album covers. Anyway.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Speaking of going places, Um,
Yeah, it's a good transition.
this episode saw us traveling to Karachi. Anyways, today we're talking about the episode "Seeing Red" of Miss Marvel season 1, episode 4, directed by Shamin Obaid Chinoy. The teleplay was by Sabir Prezada, A.C. Bradley, and Matthew Chauncey. So, initial thoughts here on this episode.
I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. It was fun, action. Kind of had a cool, adventure thing going on because she's in like whole new city she's never been to before. At least I don't think so. I don't know.
No, that was her first time going there. Somebody asks her on the plane.
I know, but she went to pet her grandma's dog and acted like she knew him, so I don't know. And then
probably from
but maybe
pictures
or something. Yeah, okay.
FaceTime and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Interesting to take us to a new location. Kind of sucked because we didn't have any Bruno or much. We had a little bit of Nakia voice and stuff, and a little bit of Kareem, or not Kareem. Kamran. Kareem is a new guy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a little bit of him in the episode, but not much of our New Jersey folks. Besides Kamala and her mom. So, we got that going on.
Yep.
I liked it. First time I watched it, I didn't like it actually that much. I rewatched it and I liked it better. It wasn't that I didn't. It's not that I disliked it. It just wasn't my favorite of the episodes, and I think I was kind of tired when I watched it, so that I'll blame it all on that. So, but when I rewatched it today, I was like really into it. So,
that's good.
Picked up on more things and stuff too. So on the second viewing, and I will say, I was half asleep when I watched it the first time, so I probably shouldn't have watched it when I did. I should have waited until I woke up. But anyways, we've got an interesting story here. Like I said, we're traveling away from New Jersey. What happens here in this episode?
They're on the plane, and Kamala's basically like essentially grounded, but since they're going to visit her grandmother, that her mom and her basically going to have like a temporary truce because she still thinks that Kamala ruined her brother's wedding, her wedding party afterwards or whatever. And they show up at the airport. We got this really cool drum music. Yes. I think it's called the doll. The doll. It's like a cool hand. It's like a drum that you play with like a stick, like a kind of like like a hook kind of.
I really do dig I really do dig the music in this show.
Yeah, the music is just like fantastic, and everyone, her cousins are there waiting for her to pick her up. People she's either met a couple times or at least talked to, a few times. Yeah. And then her grandma shows up. They all go home. By the looks of it, it looks like her family in Pakistan's kind of more on the wealthy side. Because her grandma literally lives in a gated house.
Well, the thing is, it's a big house, but it needs a paint job and stuff like that. My main feeling about it is it maybe was something that was the family comes from money, but I don't think her nanny is still wealthy at all. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Maybe. Like you got that old woman that lives in a really big house in your neighborhood. Not all neighborhoods, but like you'll see that in a movie or something like that. I think she's kind of like that almost. That's the way I viewed it.
Yeah, it could be that. Like she's just living there. She inherited the house or paid for or whatever. And then her, I don't know, but then their cousins went to like a boat party though, so they might be wealthy because they're kind of on the more rich side of things. It looks like too though. So I don't know. And then who knows? Maybe the bangle also had other abilities that like maybe made you like lucky,
Yeah.
things of that nature. We don't really know how it was used. And then they go home, they pet the really cool. He's kind of like a fat golden retriever. He might need to be on a diet, but he, he just looks a little bit too big. Dog
Yeah.
needs to be, a little bit healthier. Anyway, or maybe he was a female. Maybe she's pregnant. I don't know. But anyway, her grandmother, her nanny, or is it her nanny? Yeah,
Yeah.
her nanny. She tells Kamala her room's on the right, and then she doesn't. She like goes to the wrong door or whatever, and then it's like her grandmother's like artistic room. Like she's got a bunch of paint brushes and pictures she's drawn and painted and
Yeah.
things like that. And a lot of them look really good. And then so that must be what her mom talked about, how she was a daydreamer, maybe just because she liked being an artist. Like that's a terrible thing, apparently, according to her mom. But anyway, like how dare you do anything creative? It's terrible. But anyway, so like, and she painted a picture of her mother, from what she remembers, what she looked like. It seemed pretty accurate.
Yeah. It could look like
And then
Aisha. Yeah.
it really did. Yeah, it was pretty accurate. Maybe she had like visions of her and dreams of her too, or something that helped her
Yeah.
remember what she looked like. Because she was just like 3 or 4 years old at the time
Hmm.
when and then so like she her nanny comes in the room and is just kind of smiling at her and stuff, and um Kamala drops the bomb and basically saying like, hey, this amulet, you know does that mean like I'm a Jinn? And then she's like, yeah, of course. And then she's like, how could you be so casual about this?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter, like it's just genetics, who cares? Like she just does it
Yeah.
like it's not even like a bombshell to her. It's just like
It's like who cares? It's like saying, oh, you're from Kentucky. I mean, it's just like it's like where you
it was
come from.
literally just like it was
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, it was like nothing. Like it was just like
Yeah.
talking about ordering lunch. Like, and she's like, "You're focusing on the wrong things. Like, who cares about the gin stuff? That's not really the
Hmm.
important, thing. That's and how they both saw the train together in that vision. When they were fighting. Her and
And I mean,
Najma
and
were
and Ernani had like
fighting.
paintings of like the partition and stuff like that too that she did.
Yeah, and she also had a painting that looked kind of like the other dimension that
Yeah,
Kamala got
it almost looked
put
like it was
into.
the partition, but the people in it looked like aliens almost.
So I wonder if that was like some sort of weird like upside down type of like
Because it was
like
almost like that part where in the first episode when Kamala first has kind of her first vision, it almost looked like that, like when she's at the Avengers Con and she has that thing where she
yeah
kind of falls and yeah, it almost looks like that, like shadows and different people.
yeah, and their eyes were kind of like glowing and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and yeah, and I liked how she fell down. It literally looked like she like did like an upside down where she like literally like went,
yeah,
and then when she got back to our world, it was like she literally went like in a circle almost like she.
yeah,
It's kind of interesting, cool. And then so they have this conversation, and she's just trying to like encourage Kamala to like figure out what the what the ambulance trying to tell her, and kind of like find her way type of thing, that whole thing. And then she goes to sleep, and then her mom wakes her up scolding her as usual. Her
yeah.
mom, man, like she needs to see a therapist or something like that to stop projecting her own shit from her own mother onto her daughter, because she's kind of being a bad mother in my
Yeah.
opinion. That's just my opinion.
I figured
I
out
know
who
she
she.
has her
I figured out who
reasons,
she
but
reminds me of.
who?
My late Aunt Frida
Oh wow.
was like that with my grandma.
Oh okay, interesting.
Because my grandma, especially my grandma, was like a pack rat and
Yeah,
deserved to be. I mean, sometimes deserved to like be told, don't keep all this shit. But
yeah.
my 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 Aunt Frida was pretty controlling, but I started to realize because she was the oldest daughter in the family, and she kind of had to help raise because my grandma had 7 kids, and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
she kind of had a lot of burden put on her younger, and so like after I didn't realize and think about all this stuff until after my aunt passed away.
Okay.
So it kind of gave me a little bit more sympathy towards her, and I think
Mm.
that's what I'm feeling here with Maniba. You know, it's just kind of like she's got a lot of weight on her life, and she kind of had to. She was kind of rebellious. We find out too, and it was more like I think that the idea that she ended up having to get to the point where she was trying to raise her own mother too, because her mom was full of, you know, flights of fancy and stuff.
These crazy ideas that
Yeah,
are totally true. And then
exactly. But that's how she saw it.
yeah. But yeah, they go, she wakes her up and she's like, you gotta go with your cousins. We came here to visit, so you need to actually visit. So get up and go with them to the boat party or whatever. And then apparently they have a rule there where women can't wear jeans or
I think
girls
it
can't
was
wear
a
jeans.
restaurant, not a boat party necessarily.
Oh, well, okay. It
It
was
was
by
like
the
on a
boat.
dock. I think I didn't think it wasn't necessarily. It wasn't a boat. It was a patio.
And I don't know if it was a rule that only applied to girls or women, but I do know in some places in Pakistan where more conservative people don't think that girls or women should wear jeans because
Yeah,
it accentuates their form or whatever
yeah. A
because
lot of
the
places
female
women
form
can't
looks
wear
bad,
slacks
you
in
know.
general. Yeah,
So I don't know if it was that, if it was just like a regular rule of the restaurant or whatever type of thing. But they kind of trick her with some spicy food because they're like kind of like her cousin's sort of like being kind of mean to her
yeah,
because she's not really from there, type of thing. So they're like kind of teasing her, but kind of serious teasing at the same time. Like it's not just for fun. It's like they really don't like her because they literally like she wanted to go see like the train station, and she said, "Oh, because history or whatever." And then her other cousin, she's like, "Okay, well, we're going, so try not to get lost." And it's just like, wow, that's nice.
yeah. And
Like literally,
they
like
kind of refer to her and other people of her like as what they call ABCD,
yeah,
which is an American-born confused Desi. So
yeah. It's like, okay, well, I
yeah,
like to see you two
hmm
move to America for the first
exactly.
time and not have culture shock, you pieces of shit. But like anyway,
Yeah, well,
uh,
we have enough people here in America that would probably treat them like that, and
well, then maybe then they would learn a lesson or two, not be so
exactly.
arrogant. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying. So maybe they should count their lucky fucking
Yeah,
stars. But anyway, so that happens, and then she asks like some dude, like it's a bunch of street vendors trying to get her money because they know she's American, or at least can suspect that she is. So they're like, wanting her to buy all their wares and shit like
yeah.
that, and
One guy takes a
and
Polaroid sort of thing, an instant photo of some sort.
and like, oh, pay, and it's like I hate it when people do that though. I mean, it's like I understand they're trying to make a living, but I hate it like when someone already performs a service on your behalf and then like tries to guilt you into paying for it. I'm like, I didn't
Yeah,
even ask for this, dude. Like, I mean, I understand
it's my
it's
thing with it. It's like I've had people do that like on the street. They'll make like some kind of art and hand it to me, and they'll be like, "Hey, can you give me some money for this?" And I'm like, "I'll buy you some food." But to the,
so it's
the
like I know like the guy's probably not rolling in the big bucks, so he's
yeah,
probably just doing that out of desperation or whatever.
my
But
thing though
still,
is like, how many people tell him no, and then he's wasted all these Polaroids.
exactly. Well, he might only do it for people he suspects might not be from
Yeah.
there. Alex, I think when you're in a big city for a long time, I think you can sort of just tell
Hmm.
just by how someone's walking and how like they're maybe looking around a whole bunch that like they
Hmm.
know they're not really from there. You sort of just like develop kind of like a sixth sense about it. Like
Yeah.
literally, I know it's a small tangent here. Don't worry, it's not going to be super long. But so my first time I ever went to Chicago ever, literally as soon as I started walking on the sidewalk, I made one wrong turn, and like that was enough for someone to mark me immediately,
Yeah.
and like went into this whole story about how they got a flat tire, and then they wanted to buy like this weird like adhesive spray shit that's supposed to like keep your tire working until you can take it to like Midas or whatever you need to
Yeah.
or whatever. And then he's like, yeah, there's an ATM machine over there or whatever. And like I looked over there, there's literally no ATM machine. It was just an alleyway. So I'm like, oh, so the ATM machine is me, and the alleyway is the part where you could like pull a knife on me, I guess, or whatever, and steal my money or whatever. I'm like, nope. Like, and then he walked off in a huff, like, oh, whatever. It's like, okay, like go rob someone else or con someone else or whatever. So it's like I think that like especially in big cities,
And
you
then
sort of just
that
develop
guy
this kind of.
died like 5 minutes later because you didn't help him. Oh wait, I'm joking.
Well, I guess so. It could. I mean, it could have been. Whatever. Right. I mean, that's on my conscience, right? It's
I'm joking.
he needed to get to the hospital because his wife was giving birth to twins or
Yeah.
triplets or whatever, quadruplets, and the car broke down, and they can't afford an ambulance because they're.
It's like when I was working in
welfare,
retail, we'd have
it's
people
like,
come in. We'd have people come into the store sometimes and be like, "I need this money because my daughter's giving birth in Cleveland, and I need the bus
Right.
money to get there to be there for my my daughter and my granddaughter's birth and blah 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 and all this other stuff." And I'm just like, "Sorry, dude, I can't help you." I'm sorry.
It's like I work at freaking Walmart, dude. You think I
Yeah.
can shell out cash to
Exactly.
fund your obviously bullshit story? That's the other thing too. It's like a lot of these people use the same stories. Like, is there like a script that they're
Yep.
given or used, or they just learn from other people who taught them that, so they just repeat like what
Some
was
of these
taught to
people are
them because
pimped
it's
out like prostitutes, and they have scripts.
I wonder sometimes. I
Oh,
really
they do. They are.
'cause, like,
There's actually, it's been proven.
oh, okay.
So yeah. But anyways, back to the show though. So
Sorry, I just
she
yeah.
asks this guy for directions and to the train station, and he kind of gives them to her like in a weird way. Like, you turn a
Yeah,
right and a
go.
left and a right, and then there's like a goat.
A little bit right,
Yeah.
a little bit right.
Yeah.
Just a little, like a slight right turn. And then you got to
Yeah.
follow a donkey cart, and
It's like, what the hell?
and she's like, okay. He's like, are you getting this? And she's like, yeah.
It reminds me of the people I would know that would tell you how to get places in town, and they'd be like, okay, so you go down this street here until you hit a McDonald's, and then you turn left, and then you get to another
Right.
McDonald's, and then you just like,
what the hell, dude? Like, it's like I like how you're just using McDonald's as landmarks
yeah,
for like
exactly.
how they travel somewhere. It's so sad. It's like, because there's so many McDonald's, right? So you
Yeah.
can totally do that, and then or like a Subway, even because
Yeah.
so many Subways.
There's more of those, yeah.
Apparently,
But,
more.
but it would be like
Yeah,
that.
there's more of those,
It'd be like they'd basically just tell you where fast food restaurants are, and that'd be how you get somewhere. I'm just like, okay, wait, is that the second Wendy's I passed? Wait, I'm confused. No,
That's the state we're in our civilization now. Is we're like instead of like in the woods where you used to make like your like markings, now it's fast food restaurants.
You're going to pass 3 Burger Kings, and when you get to the third Burger King, you make a left. No, wait.
Unless you want to stop into Burger King to get like a sandwich or something, and then you go right, and then you go straight out of there.
Yeah.
You get your
if you've gone to the Taco Bell, you've gone too far. Wait.
Yeah, instead of the train tracks, it's the Taco Bell. Well, it might be like diarrhea tracks, but like anyway. Sorry, that was sick. So anyway, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So she goes to she makes it to the train station that she wanted to go to, the one that's possibly in her dreams and stuff, so in her visions. So what happens there?
Well, she reads this cool quote on the wall saying something like, even small things can turn out to be great, or something like that. And there's like a picture of AntMan, it looks like, or something on it, I think. So there's like an AntMan reference, and she already mentioned how she kind of likes AntMan, like thinks he's cool and stuff.
And she
like
listens
that,
to his podcast. So
yeah, Scott Lane's podcast where he basically is like giving all the secrets about what happened, like with the Avengers, I guess, or something. So that's how everyone knows about stuff. Like when Doctor Strange Part 2 came out, where that guy everyone seemed to know about, that he was the one that gave Thanos the Time Stone. And so it could have been Scott Lang just telling everyone all this stuff.
That sounds like something Scott Lang would do, or
it does, yeah.
Or he has his one buddy come on there and tell everything. That guy that tells all the stories in the AntMan movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like it probably is like his co-host or something like that. So there was like And there was like something underneath that quote too that like was like written in Urdu, I think, that meant something different, but it was kind of like I think it literally said something about like an ant, like in the actual quote
Oh,
itself,
okay.
like not the English, but I think in the Urdu, I think it said something about
Huh.
like an ant becoming strong. So that's kind of interesting. So I
Yeah.
wonder if there's going to be like if we're going to get in these like Ant-Man references, maybe excuse me, if these are meant to like sort of be like nods to like the Quantum Mania movie coming out because we're talking about different dimensions and
Yeah.
things like that. I don't know. I'm wondering, because the quantum realm is kind of kind of reminds me of like the Nor dimension a little bit, or where like Kane the Conqueror has his whole citadel. At least in the comic books, he's got his whole like citadel or city like
Yeah.
actually existing in the quantum realm. So there's a lot of weird shit that we don't know
It's
about
like
yet about other dimensions. So
maybe we're all waiting for a Brie Larson Captain Marvel appearance in this show, but we might get
I hope so.
but maybe instead of that we'll get a Scott Lang, appearance or something.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool too. It could be either or
Yeah.
both even, or
Mm.
Shang-Chi even, because the
Yeah.
Ten Rings seemed like there might
Yeah.
be part of this because they were all they were all standing on the Ten Rings when they were looking for the
Yeah.
second bangle. And it wouldn't put it past me for Wenwu to kind of send them on that journey,
Yeah.
either to collect the bangle for him, or maybe he was the one that caused the thing to crumble because he didn't want any competing power, essentially. Like maybe he couldn't use the bangle and the Ten Rings at the same time, so he didn't want someone else having a super powerful artifact. It's just a theory, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But like, by the way, I kind of stole that from Screen Crush, so I don't want to act like I came up with that on my
Oh,
own.
okay,
But
that's fine.
like,
Um
I like to give credit when I say something. Like it's
so
that's how I roll.
anyways, back to the show, we end up
Yeah,
meeting meeting somebody at the train station. This is
yeah,
where we
we
meet
do.
Kareem.
It's an interesting meeting.
Yeah,
It's like a meet cute, not really, but
it's a meat
it's a
fight.
a meat fight.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's knives involved, and
Yeah. Well,
or
like
a
like like
knife
like like
involved.
most meat cutes, there's always knives involved, right?
It might maybe more like a meat cube because you might end up stabbing her and then
I
create
mean,
like a
I
little
mean,
tiny piece of meat.
it's how like you know Ted Bundy met all of. Oh wait, sorry. So the
Whoa. Yeah,
so
Ted Bundy was a great guy, man. He was so charismatic and yeah,
he killed women.
yeah,
Evil piece of shit. Anyway, so the
yeah.
um
But this guy is no Ted Bundy though.
no, not at all. He's a good guy actually. So
Yeah,
we find out he's a we they have like this little fight, and he says something to her about being from America, and she's like, "How do you know I'm not Canadian?" Which is an in joke because the actress who plays Miss Marvel is Canadian, so
yeah.
that's
That's
funny.
cute.
Yeah, but they have this nice little meet, and he he says to her, it was cute at the end where he says to her, there's like a little bit of noise going on. He's like, "Come with me if you want to live." like
Right. Yeah.
like the Terminator, and and then he says, "I just always wanted to say that." So the
Yeah.
so they
Exactly.
go, and then they end up meeting. We find out that he's a member of this group called the Red. He's a member of this group called the Red Daggers, and we meet Waleed, who is who's played by Bollywood star Farhan Akhtar, um, and he's like the leader of these Red Dagger people, who are not a boy band.
No, they are not. No.
No.
It'd be
Um,
cool if they were, but they're
yes.
not.
But anyways, he explains that that these people that the class clandestines and people like that are being referred to as the Jinn are actually from another realm that is connected to our Earth, but is hidden beneath the veil of the Noor. So I'm confused by this. So is it part of our Earth, or is it another dimension or another timeline? It's really confusing.
It's like another. I think it's like another dimension that just lives like within. Wait, the
So,
way he said side by side, which
yeah,
doesn't
so
even make
it's like
sense.
it coexists. It's just kind of weird to me. But
Yeah, to say side by side implies that there's like two material universes that live next to each other, which that doesn't seem like a good explanation. But maybe that's all they were able to find because they're kind of like a human
yeah,
based, secret society. And again, can I say this?
yeah.
I like the episode. I'm kind of over the whole secret society stuff. Like, oh, a secret organization that hunts these people. I don't know. Like, I wasn't a big fan of that. I'm just saying of
Yeah,
that.
well,
That
it was their way of introducing the character, because like in the comics there was a character called the Red Dagger. There isn't a group
Okay.
of people, but I think they decided, oh, we're gonna make them a group, kind of like they did in Falcon and Winter Soldier. What was the girl's name?
Oh shoot.
But
I
anyways,
don't know.
that was just supposed to be one character, but they ended up making it like this terrorist organization, So
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, they're trying to like, get her to learn her powers and stuff, which is weird because I thought they were like trying to kill the clandestines, but then she is one, but they don't
well,
want to
she
kill her.
isn't
So I'm
really
like,
one. She's
oh,
because she's see, the clandestines are this specific group of people, and what he's trying to explain too is he does explain the fact that Jinn is just the name that they called these type of people. That like Thor would have been called a Jinn if he had landed in the Himalayas instead of where he landed.
yeah,
It's it's kind of like just people with mystical or magical or superpowers are basically called Jinn. Which brings up
yeah,
the fact that those, that clickbait article where people were trying to say that, oh, it's stupid that they're using Jinn so, flagrantly or whatever, it's just stupid. But
but they weren't real Jin, yeah, and
yeah,
then and plus they're MCU Jin, which is not the same Jin as
yeah,
and plus too, I always go back to what I said last week, where it's like, why are you complaining about this one thing? It's MCU, so we're not even talking about our real world here. And secondly, according to the both pre-Islamic and Islamic folklore, jinn are neutral spiritual beings that
yeah,
can either be good or bad or something in
yeah,
between. And so they're not like demons like in Christology or whatever you
yeah,
call it. And like I said before, it's either in the Quran or it's in Islamic tradition or both. It's been a while since I've read it, where it says that a group of jinn were so inspired by one of Muhammad's sermons or like prayer session that they actually just converted to Islam on the spot and just started praying
yeah,
alongside the humans. Of course, the humans couldn't see them because they're unseen creatures, but they were technically joined the religion and the prayer gathering, and we're just praying
mm-hmm.
with other Muslims, human Muslims, and jinn Muslims. So it's like, so I just, but I know people don't like logic anymore in this world, or if they ever did, I don't know. It seems like maybe they never did.
Like
But like,
again,
if you're going,
I think the freaking article that we're talking about, and I think that whole thing was just a freaking clickbait bullshit
the
anyway.
thing is,
So.
though, I know I've talked to enough Muslims to know that there are some Muslims who would
Oh yeah, I'm
actually
sure
say
the thing is
exact things like,
what it ends up being is that it's a small group of people that feel a certain way, and then they'll make then of course somebody will write an article and be like, people feel this way, and you're just like,
right, or
yeah,
or
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 like
so and so is revealing their bikini bod or whatever,
yeah,
or
but a lot of times the clickbait is like, you know, Star Wars fans are upset about this, and then you read the article and it's
right,
like, oh yeah, it was like some dude in his basement who was upset about something, and so now he
right.
represents all Star Wars fans, so it's just the way it
And
is.
it's from a story. And it's from a story from like 6 months ago that just revamping up. Like,
Yeah,
wait a minute. I thought the controversy was over already. Like,
yeah, exactly.
like, no, we need to like bring it back anyway. Yeah, but the clandestine. So, but they trusted Aisha though. she was a clandestine, so
Yeah, I mean she
you
was,
know,
and but what I'm saying with Kamala, she's like part probably clandestine or whatever you want to call her. She's
yeah.
but she's like a fourth or whatever, if anything, or a
Well, yeah, because
third.
you got
Yeah, or not a
yeah,
third,
you're
but
right.
like a whatever it is.
It
I'm
would
bad at
be a
math.
third. Yeah, yeah, because you got Aisha. So then they had
Yeah,
Nani. I forgot her Sana, and then so that would be she'd be half, and then Muniba would be um
a quarter.
no, well, yeah, then there would be no, no, Kamala would be the quarter, wouldn't it? Because it would be three, one, two. I don't know. And
Whatever
then
it is, she's still part
whatever.
human. So whatever it is, she's human on her dad's side. So
Mostly, yeah. And then
yeah.
and
So
anyway, yeah, they're testing her powers and shit like that.
but
Yeah,
also I
and
think she's kind of like almost like a she's of course our female like chosen one in a way too. She's our, I don't know, I for lack of a better word, a messiah sort of character. When it comes to this, power, or like she's our Buffy the Vampire Slayer sort of thing. She's the one. She so
yeah, or the Luke Skywalker, because
yeah.
later on
Hmm.
her mentor of 2 minutes gets killed, just like how
She's our Frodo
Obi-Wan
Baggins
Kenobi.
here. And
Yeah,
the but we basically find out a little bit more about that. And the thing is, like, he shows her this picture on this like thing that comes out of the ground in their place, this like holographic picture almost or whatever. And it was just interesting to me that like whatever this other realm is, I couldn't tell if those were supposed to be buildings or what, but they kind of just looked like tentacles or something.
yeah,
It like didn't look
yeah, it
like it
was
was
weird.
anywhere people could actually live. Um, so I was
Yeah,
confused.
exactly. It looked like it's like a weird city with like just mountains or
Yeah, I
just
mean,
build. Yeah,
it just like random. I mean, I'm not trying to be too critical here, but it's just like somebody at Marvel is like, oh, we need some kind of like random spacey looking shit.
yeah,
It's like it
yeah.
looked
It
like.
did look kind of like that.
Yeah,
And then uh, what else happened? Then she goes. She has dinner with like these people like at like a cool beach area. You know,
yeah, she does.
some
Yeah,
of her friends. Yeah,
and then she ends up eating something that she really likes. She's worried that it's going to be spicy because of what happened earlier to her at the
yeah. At
boat
the
club or
boat
whatever.
restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Um.
spicy snack kind of food
Yeah.
that apparently is supposed to be really, really good, but it was too spicy for her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh no!"
It's like, oh well, she doesn't like spicy food. Who cares? So,
Maybe she's not used to it. What's
yeah.
interesting, another thing. So, like, her mom came from Pakistan,
Mhm.
so theoretically, she knows how to make Pakistani food. But yet, when she makes it at home, it wasn't as spicy. So I wonder if that was like another subtle way of her trying to sort of distance herself a little bit from
Yeah.
her roots, kind of like. I mean, maybe I'm looking into it a little bit much, but I
Yeah.
just wonder because she seems kind of like she wants to get away from all that, kind of like literally because she moved
Kind of
across the
like
world.
almost like blending in more in America and trying to. Yeah. But
Right,
the
because Kamala, yeah, may have had that at home, but not that
mhm.
spicy, you know.
Yeah. So we have this scene at the beach where they're hanging out, and we learn a little bit more, and then we have like a what happens next? We have we
well,
do
she
we do
talks
have
to
a
her
scene
grandma
where
again.
we find out at the DODC Supermax prison, Najma and the rest of the clandestines escape, and they and she says to leave Cameron behind because he made his choice. So
Yeah, because he dared to, not allow the world to completely become destroyed.
yeah,
Like,
how
oh
dare
my
him?
God, so I'm so sorry, Mom, that I didn't allow billions of people to
Hmm.
die. I know I'm such a terrible person. What's with like these weird people in these shows where they're like they get mad at someone for actively not trying to kill people?
Oh, I know.
Like, it's just weird. It's just bizarre. It's like you've lived here for 100 years. You think at this point maybe you just get used to it, make this your home. I mean,
Yeah,
there's cool stuff here. I mean, like it might not be as cool as the Noor dimension, which again doesn't really look like it's that great to be honest. I mean,
exactly.
it's like really, it's like dark and stuff, and people's eyes are glowing. Doesn't really seem like that fun, but whatever.
And so,
Maybe they like it. I
and
guess.
somebody just took a paintbrush and made some slashes on the screen, and that's what we got as the description of their land.
Yeah, I mean, so apparently that's so great though. They need to go back to that after being.
Yeah,
I still want to know why they got banished though. I have a feeling Najma did something really bad and then they kicked out the whole group because why
yeah,
would you get kicked out? Unless you did something bad or were you the good guys within the Nord dimension? You weren't bad enough for everyone else. But then by that logic, why would you then want to go back to that place and be willing to kill the world to get there?
yeah.
Because then that would make you bad by trying to get the bad guys. It just seems weird.
It's
But
like
like,
I don't know.
who
Is
knows?
it the criminals
Maybe it's a
returning to the scene of the
Magneto
crime
thing.
sort of thing? I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe it's a Magneto situation where it's like I'm gonna rule everyone else because I was persecuted, so now I need to rule everyone. I don't
yeah,
know. And then who knows? We'll find out probably by the last episode of what Najma's whole deal is. But
yeah. Hopefully,
maybe Aisha will show up and she'll like maybe she's been hiding this whole time and she'll come and help her granddaughter her great granddaughter fight off the rest of the clandestines or
hmm
that would be kind of actually if that were to happen. But she does talk to her grandmother one more time in the episode when she's looking over a bunch of cool kites that are flying around.
yeah.
And then she's just kind of like continuing her like encouragement, I guess.
And her grandmother
Thing.
tells her that even at her age, she's still trying to figure out who she is.
Right, yeah. She's like, whatever, I don't really know, but it's fine. And then
Yeah,
like yeah, her grandmother was so like just like nonchalant about like just like the most mind-blowing information you could ever find, like, and she's like, oh yeah, Jinn are real and we're kind
exactly.
of part of them, whatever.
I like I do like how she says that people are claiming their identity based on an idea some old Englishmen had when they were fleeing the country. How is
Yeah,
one to deal
exactly.
with that? So it's a good it's a good thing. I mean, do you want to take a quick break here and then we'll come back and talk about the rest of the episode?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
No Outlet Live.
Hey, I'm Jay Remy, host of No Outlet Live. If you're in a podcast that explore any and everything, check us out. We stream anywhere you listen or watch podcasts, or just type No Outlet Live, one word, in your Google search bar to find the show. Live Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. No Outlet Live, your road to boredom ends here. Do you like Tessa? Do you think this will be a date that can last?
Well, she's not very articulate.
And we are back. Back
in black. No.
It's a fact.
In back. Back in back. Hit the sack.
So
Sorry.
so before I blow my brains out, I'm joking. um the So we do have another scene there too where Maniba has a frank conversation with her mother, explaining to her why she went to America and did not remain in Karachi. She said she needed a change from being shunned by the neighbors because of her crazy mother and her wild theories. Yeah, so that kind of explains a little bit more of why Maniba is so like strict when it comes to Kamala, and so because she grew up with a mother who basically was her daughter, so was acting just like her. They're very similar people.
I know. Like, how dare a woman, have dreams and have a
Yeah.
personality and
Well, it's more
have
the thing. I
fun.
mean, the thing I'm learning from it is the fact that she was treated badly by people because of her mother, and so it kind of explains things. And I mean, I know that it's not the right thing to do, but it does at least explain why she moved all the way to America to escape Karachi, you know.
Yeah.
And
Just
and
maturity on
yeah,
my
and,
view, but
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It is, and
my view.
you know, I don't think she did it as like anything malicious necessarily, you know. But
Oh, oh, I don't think so either. But it's
yeah,
like, a brother or sibling who's autistic or whatever, and people make fun of that because of that, so you're gonna hate your autistic sibling because
no,
of
I know.
that. If you do, then that kind of speaks to your personality a little bit. I'm just saying. Uh,
Oh, it does, and
but
I'm not defending her, but I'm at least
I know.
explaining and understand her character. Um,
Yeah,
and
totally.
that's the thing. I mean, people are layered, and they're not
Yeah.
so black and white. And it gave me a little bit more sympathy and understanding for her in certain ways, because it's unfortunate that she did it, but she didn't ever stop loving her mother either, though. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
so that's the good part. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So because that's the way I kind of feel about my Aunt Frida. I guess I'm just like placing that on her. So she never stopped loving my grandma. The
Right,
um,
right.
so we we have this whole scene where we've got like a whole like action sequence finally in this episode. Not finally, but
Mhm.
a really cool like chase in the streets where you know where Kamala can use her powers and stuff like that, and it's her and Waleed and Kareem being chased by the clandestines who this is the funny thing I found online. Somebody was being, it's like, I don't think I can believe the show anymore because it seems like the clandestines were able to get to Karachi in like hours.
Well, so are they able to?
Yeah. And
Well,
so
then
my
again, they weren't.
response to this person is like, you're fine with the superpowers,
Right.
but you
You're
draw the
fine.
line at travel. It's like,
Well, yeah, exactly. You're fine with superpowers and a Noor dimension and Jinn and amulets that have like magical powers
yeah.
and all that stuff. But like, how do they get to Karachi? I mean, really? Like, I don't know. Maybe they hailed a plane. Maybe they got their own personal pilot or something.
We don't
Like,
know the
I mean,
extent of their powers either, so who knows?
well, but yeah, they could have just like manifested themselves
Maybe they can
there.
teleport. Who
Or,
knows? I don't know.
or again, think about it. They've been around here for about 100 years or so.
Yeah.
They're probably all quite wealthy because they probably figured out
Yeah.
how to start businesses and make money and
There's a
save
good
money.
chance one of them's a pilot. Um
Or knows a pilot who can hire.
yeah,
Like, I mean, yeah, there's something.
exactly.
Yeah, you don't need like to know. Like, I mean, come on, like a Black Widow. She's got like a guy who basically like does like
Yeah.
illegal things or like acquires
And
helicopters.
it's funny. It's like
Like,
it's like it's somebody says, "Man, I'm waiting for that episode where we just see them traveling for 15 hours to Karachi."
yeah, just to make it more realistic. I mean, he's like, what the hell? And then I know, I swear to God, these people like they'll literally just find anything to complain. I remember too when that one guy who I'm not gonna say his name because it's such a
Yeah.
stupid fucking yeah. But anyway, where he's like talking about like Captain Marvel, like I don't understand like how her uniform could just like change colors like it's some Barbie doll or something like that. Like just like going all in on
That.
how Carol Danvers dressed, and then
Hmm.
like it's like the movie's so unrealistic, and it's like okay, like all right.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, people will
I love
nitpick about
it.
anything, honestly. So,
I love it when men who pretend to be feminists, but they're really not, and they criticize women, but they criticize them under the lens that like they're not being feminist enough because they like have like a more feminine personality or they express themselves and clothing wise in a more feminine way, but it's really just a cover for them to just control women, but they're doing it under the guise of feminism, which is like an extra layer of just like being really like manipulative. I like that. That's what that guy was doing, by the way. Again, I'm not gonna say his name, but it's really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he's got dumb hair too. Okay. Um.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
sorry, that was a like I said, I was trying to put a lid on the mean streak that I got going on, but I think I've done okay this time.
oh
Haven't
no,
done
you're
that
good.
much,
You're
so
good. I'm not worried about that. I was just trying to remember what else happens in this episode. So okay. Oh yeah, we do have.
we had a fight scene with the cool chase and the fight scene was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
we have this big
Sure.
fight scene, and unfortunately, in the fight scene, Waleed is apparently murdered.
Her Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yeah.
died, after 2 days of or whatever of mentorship or whatever.
Yeah, I guess he does something else. I'll have to look him up. That actor, he does something else on the show too. Like he's some kind of behind the scenes person too on the show. I don't know if he's like a fight choreographer or what he is, but anyways, I'll look that up here.
Cool.
Yeah, the whole we get that she basically has this happen, and during this thing, Waleed is killed. He actually killed one of the clandestines before that happened, though. He ended up getting fatally stabbed by Najma. And then Kamala and Kareem are fending off the rest of the clandestines and whatnot, and Kareem kills one of them as well, so we're down 2 clandestines.
Yeah,
and then
Adam,
and then Najma accidentally stabs the Bengal, and then Kamala goes into one of her visions, but it's very realistic, and she seems to have somehow been transported back in time to the partition.
Yeah, like the night. Yeah, like the night where, her grandmother was, transported. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like she's actually back in time for real.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I think she's somehow time traveling or something, or is at least
'cause
able to interact with it and observe it or something in a way. So
it's like a vision because if you notice, I watched it twice, and you notice at one point when she's about to climb on top of the train, and she walks in front of some guy, and then he stops. Usually, when you have these visions, like in Harry Potter, where he's looking through like the pensive, like nobody's interacting with him, like he just sees what already happened. So, like, if someone's walking towards you, they'll just literally walk through you because you're not really in the moment. You're looking at a memory, but this guy literally stopped in front of her. So to me, I don't know if that's like a hint, maybe that she's actually there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because like I just recently watched something, I don't even remember what it was, where somebody was inside of a memory and people were walking right through him. So anyways, where do you think the next week we're gonna spend a lot of time in the partition era, or do you think we're gonna come back to present?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, like if she actually is, back, in the past, it might be her trying to, find her way back to the present, or maybe just try to figure out maybe where Aisha went, or and then, again, I'm giving credit to Screen Crush or Ryan Airy, because I'm not. It's not the original idea. I got it from him, but like, so I want to make sure I give credit. But he had a video recently where he speculates that maybe it's like this weird time loop kind of thing going on, where maybe she was the one that actually like guided her grandmother the trail of stuff.
I actually thought that before I ever heard anybody say that, and I heard it on a podcast as well.
Okay.
I don't even remember which one, but I don't listen to many, before we record, so it's probably the Slash Film one that I listened to, and I think they might have speculated that too. So because I don't think I listened to Ryan Airy this week, so.
So that could be interesting, if that was the case, that but then it becomes that whole time loop thing where she went to the past, but then since that was already going to happen anyway, and therefore
it's a time loop. Yeah,
not really time travel if it was supposed to happen, type of thing.
Yeah,
like it's just a weird concept, but like That's like the MCU version of time travel because
It's the MCU version of Marty McFly going back in time and then creating rock and roll.
yeah, and then
Not
you got
really
Bruno.
creating it, but creating the the whole Johnny Be Good thing. No, so
That puts on like a whole other dark meaning though to it though.
yeah, it does.
Even though it's a great movie, but the idea like
But it's kind of
it's
like a
actually
white dude created Johnny Be Good.
exactly. It's like, oh, it's actually a white guy who created rock and roll. I mean, I know it was meant to be like this fun little thing, but it's like,
Yeah,
wow. Like watching that later on, it's just like, man, like that
yeah.
was
I mean, it's
totally
not.
unthinkable.
I don't think they were thinking about that at all when they did that.
Oh, they weren't.
No.
That's the thing. It was like, but like,
Mhm.
man.
um.
But Bruno, he dresses like Marty McFly, so that's interesting. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe out
My
one.
theory is what's going to happen next week is Doc Brown's going to show up with a DeLorean during the partition, and actually it's not even going to be a DeLorean. It's going to be that train from the end of Back to the Future 3. It'll end up right on the tracks behind the trains that all the people are on, and he's gonna look at look at Kamala and be like, "I'm here to save you," and then
And then yeah.
and
But
then
I don't
again,
know, man.
nobody's gonna question why this old dude's hanging out with teenagers, and
And exactly, and why he said teenagers wearing like totally modern clothing, like
yeah,
with like New Jersey logo and stuff like that, and
yeah,
yeah, unless you find some Pakistani guy or whoever who like is up on like American geography, it's like, oh yeah, I know New Jersey,
yeah, or it's
like,
like when that's the other thing too, or she's wearing pink Chuck Taylor Converse shoes too, so it's like
it's
they
not like you
might
think like,
they I think they had Chuck Taylors around that time, but they probably weren't popular in India and Pakistan, and
right. If
and
anything, they're
also
probably
I don't think they were pink.
no, they weren't probably not. If
No,
anything, they well, since like Bruno already did dress like Marty McFly, maybe it'll have like a sort of Back to the Future type of
feel
episode
to
where
it, yeah,
people are like, "You're a strange girl. Like, where are your parents?
yeah,
Like saying like you just seem different. Like,
yeah. Um, Interesting thing to point out about this episode that we watched is because of political things, they couldn't film in Pakistan. Um,
yeah.
they filmed actually in Bangkok,
Oh,
Thailand.
okay.
So yeah, and they made it look as much like Karachi as they could, and
Yeah,
they
I
probably
think
also filmed some of it on set in Georgia where they were filming most of the series because
yeah.
you can't film anything where it actually takes place. Can't even film in Jersey, somehow.
You know, I figure that the Pakistani government wouldn't allow it
Oh
because
yeah,
they're like
they
they're
did
pretty
send
like
people there to get B-roll, I guess, but they weren't going to let them film like a whole, They probably snuck that too, you know what I mean? So
yeah. 'Cause Pakistan's kind of like a well, we're kind of heading towards Pakistan and the type of theocracy that they've got
yeah,
because Pakistan not really a full on theocracy like you would have like in Iran or Saudi Arabia or Afghanistan.
yeah,
It's more like Pakistan's kind of got like a half theocracy, half republic, kind of intermixing with each
yeah,
other. So like the Quran and like Islamic Sharia is sort of like the sort of like bedrock of their constitution, but it's not like the constitution itself. Whereas like in Iran, Saudi Arabia, it's like that is like the constitution essentially, or at least their interpretation of it, which is always the most conservative, coincidentally. Anyway, and
So are you
I
trying to
told
say
myself
they're
it wasn't.
part of the Stone Age with Fred Flintstone by the bedrock aspect? I'm joking.
Yeah,
Sorry, no.
yeah, of course. He was an Ayatollah, yeah, and um, we call him Farid, Flint. I don't know, whatever.
But
Just done great.
humans lived at the same time as dinosaurs, according to
No.
the Creation Museum in Kentucky or something. So
I've got a cousin who goes to that place like every couple of years.
my My
And she's
sister,
not.
my sister and her kids went there recently, and it was so
Yeah.
much for me not to say anything.
Oh, I know. Well, my case too. My cousin's not even super. I mean, she's Catholic, but she's like a liberal Catholic. But she's like, she's not like politically conservative at all. But like, she loves going. She's been to this place like 15 times or something like throughout her life. Like, why do you love this place? Like, this totally goes against your values. That I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's totally like this was created by like a right wing evangelical dude.
Oh
Like,
yeah. But it turns
30.
out most of the reason that he created it was just to make money anyway. So he doesn't
Well,
necessarily
I mean, yeah,
believe in anything.
that goes without saying.
Yeah, but
And but anyway,
but we're way off topic here. So I'm sorry.
I was just gonna,
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying that Pakistan. I'm not surprised that Pakistan wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about Jinn and all these blasphemous ideas, and plus two, it's a girl without a hijab, like what, type of thing. So like,
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
If we even stay there that long, who knows how long it'll be? I mean, it could be some kind of a fake out. Hopefully not, but we'll see. But I do want to get back to Jersey, and I hope we do soon. So, because I miss Bruno and Nakia. So I'm like, So
yeah, no, I hear you. I hope it's not going to be a Moon Knight situation where 4 of the episodes are going to take place in one city other than what it started out as.
Yeah.
Oh, so
we'll see what happens, and hopefully they don't do that. Any other final thoughts here before we wrap things up?
Not much. Just an apology if I offended anyone. It's not my intention. It's just I get on these things sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget that maybe people don't like that. Sorry.
Well, Matt, you totally offended me, and
well, I mean, our answer listeners, especially if they're from like a Muslim background, because I'm not speaking from an angle of prejudice. I'm speaking for someone who actually spent quite a lot of time in the Muslim community when I was in my youth. So I'm not speaking as some like America, type of person. It's more of like I've had actual conversations with people who would say these exact type of things and complain about. So it's not like I'm just making.
I don't think anything you said can be construed as offensive, anyways. So
okay. I'm just making sure, just conscientious. That's how I am, And anyway, that's all.
And if you have any thoughts on this episode or any other ones, you can find all of our stuff at all2real2.com. You can also message me directly at mike@cullenpark.com. If I get your message, I might read it in a future episode. If you like hearing your thoughts and voice on things, let us know. And I mean, if you're cool enough, maybe you'll be on a future show. Who knows? But help support the show. I know this is the celebration of America this weekend or something. I think America just really needs help. And it's okay to be critical of the country you live in. It's not against being American by being critical of it.
Or, maybe America does need to get fucked. Maybe it just needs to get laid. It's very, very uptight, so...
It does.
America's act like a bunch of incels right now, basically. So... Incelica, I don't know. Incelica? I don't know.
We'll workshop it later.
Sorry, it reminds me one super last thing. So one time I had a dream once that was a weird like fever dream basically, and then it was like about this dude who was like a substitute teacher who like basically like the students were just like acting out, like the school couldn't control them, so like they're like, we need like our ace in the hole type of guy who's gonna like he's like a alternative dude, and he's gonna like work his magic or whatever to like get the kids to get good grades or whatever. So like he like basically like decides to create like this weird like golfing academy within the school itself, and like they go like on this weird like camping trip where they're supposed to be golfing at the same time in the woods. Not sure how that works out. And anyway, they're like he's like talking to one of the students who's kind of like the nerd of the class or whatever, and then like they're talking about incels for some reason. I have no idea why. And then like the kid like he goes like, "Are you sure that's you're an incel or an intellectual?" And like they both just started laughing. So like I started using that phrase then later on where I'm like, like no incels who think they're like super smart. I call them intellectuals. You can use that, but you gotta give me credit because I came up with it. Or
Okay.
my dream.
I'll
came
make
up
sure that
with
it's a
it.
copyright then. So
Oh, that's what I got at the end of this episode.
so anyways, folks, until next time, make sure you're good to each other. Be nice. Don't be an asshat or an asshole or an intellectual. Copyright Matthew Haas, Sesame, Karachi, and Carta. And and until next time, folks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Haas. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.